Hello, welcome back to our 3x15 Chrome webinar series. Thanks for tuning in. This is our third installment talking about Chrome and Chrome specifically in the retail environment. The first webinar was primarily focused on the macro trends, what we see in retail, what's working, what's not working, the primary challenges. Yesterday, we specifically discussed as to what digitization would do to the operational environment of retail. And today, we're really focused on what does it actually translate to in the field. And super happy to have Jeff with me here, the CTO of Express Image. His company primarily works with, it's fair to say, the brick and mortar big box retailers and help them basically implement some of these digitization strategies, primarily focused on Chromes.
Yes, exactly.
So thanks for being here. And once again, thanks to everyone that is joining us here in the audience as well as on the live stream. So first things first, what are the primary challenges that you see in the retail environment today?
I would say some of the biggest challenges that we're seeing with the customers that we're talking to, day in, day out, is getting people to come back to brick and mortar and really experience something in the retail space rather than purchasing product online. That's one of the biggest ones that we've seen. I would say another one is educating the customer about their product. So really giving the customer the information they need to make an informed purchase and do that at the point of retail.
Got it. When you think about this paradigm that we also talked about yesterday, is that people shop online and but then clearly go back to this offline purchasing flow. How does technology play into that? How do you help people research online, but then actually have them convert offline in a store setting?
I think one of the biggest things is giving them an experience that they're excited to come back for. So, a lot of consumers will do that research online, but when they come into the store, they want to be wowed. They want to have an experience that's memorable, an experience that they can go to their friends and family and say, hey, I had this great experience at, such and such store, let's go back there and experience that again. So I think that's one of the biggest things that drives people from online back to the retail location.
One of what my themes yesterday was that this is undoubtedly a daunting task, right? And so everyone kind of loves the narrative, but when we talk to folks in the field, they're like, well, how do we get started, right? Your company has specifically focused on endpoints / kiosk technology inside the real estate to almost trigger some of that purchasing behavior and really get folks informed. Talk to me a little bit about what a kiosk is in your world and how, again, one may start going down that path.
Definitely. So a kiosk, the way that we, the kiosks that we provide to our retail customers are points of interest within the location, typically interactive. So when you have a kiosk, you want the customer to be able to interact with that technology. So you have typically a touchscreen kiosk that people can come up to and most of the time it gives them the information that they need. So within that retail location, you could have, for example, within Mall of America, wayfinding kiosks throughout the mall that allow people to go up and find where they're heading, what shops are around them, nearest to them, and get that information and then either make a purchase or, in the case of Mall of America, go to a retailer that allows them to make that purchase that they're looking to make.
So kiosk in this case is essentially equated to digital screens, right?
Yes.
In a lot of these cases, they're touch enabled, and again, I think as we've heard over these last 2 days, that's a really good entry point. Give us a sense of how this digitization has started to transform retail. I think we're just kind of at the start of the transformation. How is it perceived? What are is IT receptive to this? What are the challenges I think that IT is facing to quite frankly implement this rather large strategy?
Well, to talk to your first point, so one of the biggest things that it's allowing retailers to do, and how it's transforming retail, is speed. I think that's the the speed that with which retailers are able to roll out content, the speed at which marketing individuals are able to get the information out there that they need to within the location. Before, for example, an airport that had printed directories or printed advertisements, they might spend $5,000 to $10,000 and 3 or 4 weeks to get new content out there. Where now with digital, you can roll out that content in a matter of minutes most of the time. So that speed is really one of the transformational things of digital signage and kiosk technology within the retail space. And then to go along with that, IT's challenges with that is also the speed. When you give marketing the opportunity to roll something out very quickly, a system, IT really has to buckle down on security, make sure that everything is going to go well from an operational standpoint. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we've seen is IT limiting, making sure that the solution is a great solution and not just rolling something out, without looking into it further.
So if we take that, I'll come back to IT, but if we take that to kind of the operational aspects, it seems like that one of the selling points as to why you're encouraging retailers to do this is basically to replace or to take print into a digital environment, to essentially replace paper-based processes and digitize them. And obviously, the second piece is really an ROI piece, right? Can you talk a little bit, and again, feel free to use the example of Mall of America, to talk a little bit about the stats and the ROI in this very early stage project. What have you seen? Are there any early indicators that this is obviously something that is very transformational from an ROI perspective?
Definitely. So specifically with Mall of America, as you said, one of their biggest objectives was to reduce the time that people spent at their directories. Because when they're trying to get new tenants into their location, they want to get as many people to those retailers as possible to then make purchases. So, they had people spending sometimes 3 to 4 minutes. Families would be crowded around these printed directories trying to find where they wanted to go. And one of the biggest metrics that we looked at with that was how low we could get that number. If we save customers time trying to find where they're going, they make more purchases within the retail space itself. So we were able to get that down to 30 to 45 seconds, which when you look at how many visitors there are at the Mall of America, that saves a cumulative amount of almost 25 years of consumer time that is no longer spent trying to find where you're going and actually making purchases.
You mentioned the speed of deployment, right? I mean, I think, and I stressed this yesterday as well as Rajan the day before, that digitization is interesting to people because there's this ease of deployment to it, and there is a very short timeline to actually get the first ROI results, right? When you look at frankly, a mammoth project such as Mall of America, how quickly did it actually take you guys to implement this solution and to see initial results?
So we started out with basically a phase 1 deployment, which was only 6 kiosks. One of the things that we love to do and with our customers, and I think is incredibly important, is to really test out whatever solution is being implemented. On Mall of America, and we didn't want to roll out a solution that we didn't know was going to give those results and give those results quickly. So with that initial phase 1, we got that completed in roughly 2 months, a little less than that. And they were seeing results immediately in terms of the focus groups that they did, as well as the time trials that they did of people actually how long they were spending at the kiosk. So the results after that initial deployment were almost immediate, where they saw those metrics improving, and it only took us about 2 months to get that phase 1 deployment done.
Got it. When you kind of switching gears a little bit back to the IT and to actually how do you start this? I talked about turnkey solutions yesterday, and really a turnkey approach. Basically, you take a Chrome-powered screen, you take a Chrome-powered device, you put it into this real-time consumer-facing scenario. you basically boot it up, and it then caters to that use case based on the audience, right? A lot of that is a function of the manageability of the device. Tell me a little bit about how you, with this ever-growing footprint of screens, how do you manage them? What's the management console setup? And then perhaps as a follow-up, talk to us a little bit about the actual technology that ExpressImage is bringing to the endpoint.
Yeah, definitely. So with the number of screens that we're managing, one of the reasons why we chose to standardize on Chrome-based solutions is that ease of management. So it really takes away utilizing the Chrome Management Console and Chrome hardware pretty much exclusively. It allows us to focus less on traditional IT challenges with digital signage and kiosks and touchscreen technology, and allows us to focus more on the kiosk application side or the software development side, which is really the most important thing, getting that content and the user experience up to where you want it to essentially create that ROI. So for ExpressImage, the items that we're bringing is really that turnkey package, like you mentioned. So you have all of these pieces that fit together with a solution that a lot of the time are not considered if a retailer attempts to do it themselves. So you have the hardware, which is obvious, but you also have maintenance, support, installation. You have the software itself that has to be built on top of Chrome, and then you have the content, which is also super important. So bringing all those pieces together and doing a lot of that in-house ourselves, and basically packaging a solution that will solve a customer's problem. So using the Mall of America example again, we came to them with our services. They had a problem where people were spending too much time at their directories. So we were able to figure out a solution that solved that and put together a turnkey package around that.
And all truly managed centrally.
Yes. Yeah, so all of their devices are managed from one individual location. That's one of the biggest points that we like to stress. We have customers that come to us and say that they want to manage a deployment with SD cards and send them out to the locations, and it never works. It costs a lot of money. They don't get a lot of buy-in from the individual locations actually updating the content. So that's one of the biggest things, is having that centrally managed solution.
You said one thing that I picked up on. You basically tie every deployment to a very concrete problem statement. And that's something that Chrome can solve for. Looking at your portfolio of deployments, a lot of them obviously we can't mention, what are the 2-3 key criteria that you're looking for and that you're essentially solving for? Is there a common theme among your retail clients where you would say, if you have this problem, come talk to us. If you have this problem, Chrome can certainly help you on that journey.
I would say that it's hard to pinpoint the top ones just because we get asked so many
top three
questions.
Is fine. Top three is fine. It's okay.
So I would say the top three, consumer education at the point of sale. So we've talked to retailers where they don't have enough salespeople in the actual retail location to educate every customer that comes in. So having kiosks there that have information, that's one of our biggest asks, is really ways that Chrome can help edify the customer at the point of sale. Another one would be, in the case of Mall of America, we have had ones that just want to save time for the consumer. Expedite that process within either getting to their retail location. We work with a lot of malls and a lot of other entities that need that wayfinding. For example, in retailers, being able to search on a kiosk for an individual product and being able to find that rather than having to stumble around and try to find that product. So I think that those are two of the largest ones that we've seen in terms of value propositions that we can bring. But again, they're like you said, we like to identify either an ROI objective or an ROO objective, which is either return on investment or return on objective, based off of what the retailer's needs are.
When we look at it, there's certainly a macro strategy with regards to digitization in retail, but what I've said all along and what I tell our customers is I would attack it from on a tactical level. I would start small. I would look for the problem statement that we can actually solve for, and then watch the solution, watch the OS essentially grow organically across multiple screens, and watch the problem statement actually grow. So with that said, thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you for your thoughts and your insights, and very much look forward to working with you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.